right, welcome back. This is going to be part 16 on my presentation on the flood and Noah's Ark, and we are going to continue right along with Peleg, and what was going on in the days of Peleg. And so I'm going to give you guys some ideas and some thoughts on what's been going on. Now, the last video we talked about that there are some that believe that what the Bible is referring to, if you'll notice on the screen here, it says, unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days, Peleg's days, was the earth divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. And so now it's got to be talking about Peleg's days, not Eber's days, Peleg's day, because it says, for in his days was the earth divided. And it says, his brother's name was Joktan. So it's following along. You can see that how it's following along just smoothly. It's talking about the days of Peleg, the days of Peleg's days. And so something happened. Something happened at this time. And where the earth was divided, there was something that happened. And so is it talking about the geological material earth is what it says? Is it talking about where the earth, the continent split up? And that's what some folks are saying, that this is referring to that. And we talked about how if that was to happen and the earth was to split apart physically, it would cause another flood because of the catastrophic domino effect that would happen when you move a continent. I mean, you're talking about extraordinary waves that would happen because of that in the ocean and stuff, and it would end up flooding the earth again. Is what you would have. I don't think there's anybody that could survive such a thing, and so that's one of the thoughts. Now we're going to talk about another thought on this. And so if you'll notice on the this map here, this is just a little screenshot or a little scan. This is actually from my book that I have here, Adam's Sync Chronological Chart or Map of History. Now, if you'll notice, I'm just going to show you mine. And so this is what it is. I'm going to have to back up. I mean, you guys can see this. Look at that. It's huge. It's gigantic. And you open this bad boy up, and it's a big map. And you can take this map, and you can actually detach it from the book here, and you can hang it on the wall. It's a big chart, a big map. This would be cool to have in a Sunday school class, or some of you homeschoolers have a room dedicated for your classroom stuff and just have this chart on the wall. And so, dress it up, make it your own. And so we homeschooled our kids, and the kitchen area was our classroom, the main classroom. And I remember when the kids were going through English, because you can make up your own, as long as they study what's supposed to be, English, math, and stuff like that, you can pretty much, you don't have to go through the public schools types of textbooks and stuff like that. You can get your own. And so we centered our kids' education around God and the Lord. And so, whenever they were doing English, we got the whole English, they took English together, even though they were in different grades. And their English program was centered around the Lord of the Rings. There was actually an English course where they used the Lord of the Rings into that. And we got a great big map of Middle Earth and put it in the kitchen. And they excelled, guys, because they were interested in it. And so that's what I love about homeschooling. And so we homeschooled both our kids. My son was entering, I think he had just finished 6th grade. And after 6th grade, we started homeschooling him. And my daughter had just finished 5th grade, I want to say. And when she entered 6th grade, we were homeschooling her. And so, but a lot of the classes that we did, they were able to take together. And so my son was doing college course math before he finished high school. And so one of the best course, I know I'm rabbit trailing a little bit, but for those of you that want a really good math course for students, is chalk dust. Chalk dust. Remember that, chalk dust. And so we still have some of that around the house here tucked away. But it's a guy standing in front of a chalkboard with a piece of chalk explaining the math. And it was amazing, guys. He explained so well the math. And so my son excelled in that. But just remember, chalk dust. It's an expensive course, a program, but you do it all on DVDs. And but he excelled in it. He excelled in it because of that. And but at any rate, not getting off on that rabbit trail. If you'll notice on the screen here, let me show you another picture of this chart. This is it sprawled out. I took it outside and put it on the driveway, and that's my wife standing next to it for scale. And so, but it covers a 6,000 year time period from the biblical creation to the late 19th century, which would be the 1800s. It's 22 feet 1 inches long. 22 feet 1 inches long, and it's 27 inches tall. Just remember this, you guys. I'm sure they probably got this in digital format, but this is an outstanding chart, and you'll see me use it from time to time. But taking this little area here, now you saw this on the last video that I had, notice Peleg. What was going on in Peleg's days that the earth was divided? If you'll notice, right where I got Peleg in the middle of that chart there, look directly up. And it says, confusion of tongues and dispersion. And so, if you'll go straight down from that, take that straight down, and you'll see Nimrod. Nimrod founds Babylon. Now, he does that before Peleg. And so Peleg was born after Nimrod's birth. And so, if you notice that there is a correlation with Peleg and the time of Babylon. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, Donnie, big deal. What's going on with that? And so, well, let's check that out there, because if you'll notice that the confusion of tongues and Peleg's birth, or just slightly after Peleg's birth, is 2247 and 2247. So we're getting a hint, guys, that this Peleg, this dividing of the earth, could have something to do with the dispersion of the peoples during the confusion of tongues during Babylon's fall. And so now, what I'm going to do is I am going to read to you right from the Bible. This is the King James Bible, Genesis 11, verses 1 through 9. And this is what it says. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Now see, right there, they're going against what God said. God said, I want you to fill the earth and be fruitful and multiply. And here they're saying that we're just going to come together and we're not going to be scattered upon the face of the earth. Now, going on in verse 5, it says, And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them. Now get that. He scattered them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Now, I'm going to stop right there with this, with just reading of the verses. And let's stop for a minute and let's think. In verse 9, Genesis 9:1, it says, and God blessed Noah and his sons and said, be ye fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. That was a commandment that he gave them. And in 11:1, we see that the earth was of one language and of one speech. And in verse 4 of chapter 11, notice the pride here, guys. They said, go, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered upon the face of the earth. Now, right now, they're going against what the Lord had told them to do. They're saying they're not going to do it. And in Genesis 11:8, it says, so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build a city. So they went off. If you can't understand one another's speech, there's going to be groups that's going to be gathering together, and they're going to go off and they're going to build their own cities and stuff like that. So God said, okay, you don't want to do it my way. You don't want to do it the way that I told you to do. I'm going to force you. And so now, since he's made everybody have different languages and stuff like that, guys, we haven't been able to come together since. We haven't. Everybody is just, if you're not like me, if you don't talk like me or look like me or whatever. Now, I'm going to go into what we call supposed different races. I won't be that now. I do not believe that the Lord made different colors of skin here. There are some creationists that do believe that. I am not one of those. A lot of them may say, well, when he caused the different languages, he caused the different skin colors also. I don't believe in that, and I'm going to give my reasons later on in this presentation. But right here, guys, in this chart here, you can see that the confusion of tongues, the dispersion, happened at the days of Peleg, which matches the scripture that talks about that. It matches it. And I do believe that this is what it's talking about when it's talking about the days of Peleg. Now I'm just going to throw this at you here. It's definitely an interesting thought. But there have been some that said, if you'll notice here, and under Eber were born two sons, and the name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. We talked about that. This is another thing that is quite interesting here. And it says here, and his brother's name was Joktan. Now, there's been some that I have heard in the past say that his brother's name meant shortening, and that correlated with the shortening of the lifespans of human beings after the flood. Now, what I did here is, if you look below this verse here, I went into the Strong's Concordance and I defined Joktan, or you can say that J can be pronounced as a Y, Yoktan, let's just say that. It means smallness. And so somebody may say, okay, I can still see the word shortening and smallness would kind of correlate with each other. And I went even deeper than that. You can still, it gives you other definitions that you can get to where this word was derived from. And so it was derived from that word called kauton. It means was a small thing, make small, am not worthy, to be insignificant, to be made small, reduce significantly. And so you take that even further down, that kauton or kauton means small, little, youngest, younger, least, yes, less, young, small, insignificant, unimportant. And you can take that even further down to where it's kut, and it means grieve, loathe, to be grieved, to feel a loathing against self, to detest, to loathe oneself. And so that's the definitions that I got into the Strong's Concordance. And so, can I make an absolutely solid base fact that that's what that means? Is that the earth was divided, and then there was a shortening of man's lifespan. And so, in a way, yes, in a way, I can see that, because if you take this chart here and you see and you notice about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see where I put dramatic drop in lifespan, and you'll see Peleg. You'll see Peleg there. Now notice the flood. That line going straight up and down is the flood. Now Peleg's name is running through that line. That does not mean that he was born at that time, because if you'll notice, he was born after. He was born after the flood. And so, but if you'll notice in Peleg's days, if you'll notice that right from Eber, his father, notice the lifespans go half or less than half. They just drop off significantly. I'm talking a significant drop. And they never do climb back up. Man starts to drop in lifespan. It goes Peleg, and then right there where it's at Serug and Nahor, and then it keeps on dropping, even lower than that. It keeps on dropping. And so, it's wild to see that. So I'm throwing that out, that Joktan. I'm just throwing that out because it's something that you may hear. And so like Peleg means division and Joktan means shortening. So there was a division in the earth and a drop in the lifespan of man. And so I could definitely say that the division, I'm going to correlate that with Babel. The division and the dispersion of Babel, when the earth's languages were all mixed up and people couldn't understand each other. And then the shortening, I will say that the lifespan did drop off dramatically at that time. So, there could be something to that. There very well could be something to it. Let's go ahead and we'll stop right there. And when we continue on, we're going to talk about the water. I'm sitting here going through my slides here. We're going to talk about the water on the planet. What happened to it? What happened to it? This kind of, when we're talking about moving continents and stuff like that, and the flooding of the planet, we're still going to be talking about the three theories on why they think the plants and animals are out the north and south poles. We're still in there, but I'm going to kind of end the topic of the supercontinent with the next one about the waters and stuff. And so when we come back, we're going to end up with that one. And then the video after the next one, we're going to get into theory number two. And so you guys take care. I love you. Hope you're learning a bunch. And I hope the Lord blesses you real good. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.